Hello and welcome. Good morning. So who was at the dinner yesterday night? Not too many. I seen people lying outside in the sun, and so maximum respect for showing up this morning. So I work for Plomox. I like to program in C, in Python, and in Go. And I specialize in AWS infrastructure, which is good since we have a AWS first strategy. I like to automate all things, and at work I build tools to deploy cloud infrastructure. And these tools are already used by multiple teams within our company and outside also. So I'm maintainer of GCDT. So basically that means I get paid to do open source using Python, which is awesome. So let's get started. Plomox is the company I work for, and Pro7 Sat.1, maybe not too many have heard of that, is a German television broadcaster. So we have a lot of experience doing television. So Pro7 Sat.1 is our mothership. Our business is in web content, and we already have partnerships with companies in the UK, in Portugal, and starting getting partnerships in Italy. So we are not bound to the borders of Germany anymore. So we see ourselves as an international company. So what we are doing is bringing together businesses from publishers and content providers. And so we build products to serve the both of them. So I work at Plomox, I work at the SRE team, Site Reliability Engineering. So we have this duty of Captain Crunch. So we help out with all incidents happening during the day, but we also do other things like, for example, working on our cloud deployment tools. This is our team, and this is the award, Gartner Award, very prestigious award that we won in 2017 for our award-winning infrastructure that we built using the tools. This is the site reliability team with the trophy that we received last week. So this is the tool I mentioned a couple of times already. We started working on that on 5th of April in 2016. And exactly 1 year later, on the 5th April of 2017, we open sourced the tool. So this is brand new. Everybody can now start using that. So can I make a memory quickly? Excellent. Thank you. I like to ask you some feedback already. So who makes deployments at work or for own stuff? So about half or maybe 40%. Who automates the deployments? Okay. A lot of interest there. Who writes command line interface tools or applications? Okay, also half. And who knows already the Python prompt toolkit? Wow, we are spot on. It looks like I can really tell you a few things. So who has seen a talk by Alex Martelli? This conference, also a few. So Alex Martelli is also known for his infamous talk on abstractions. And it's a big talk, and I leave out obviously a lot, but basically what he says, if you work with a technology, you should know the interface of this technology you work with, and you also should have in-depth knowledge about the underlying layer, so you can understand the interface better. And that's exactly what we are doing today with command line interfaces. So this is what the talk is about command line interfaces, terminals, and tools. So last year I needed to look intensively into this stuff, and I want to share some things I found helpful. So today we will cover a lot of groundwork. So everybody uses ls to look up stuff from the directory, and ls changes the output. It outputs in columns, and if you change the terminal window, it also changes the output. And if you pipe the output into, for example, cat, as I just showed you, then you get also a different format for your output. So this is some things we like to know how to do that. And another sample, top. So you get information about processes running on your environment. And this is a more immersive. It takes the full screen and it keeps updating it. And we like to know how to do that. And if you think about it, we could come up with a solution, print stuff out, and then print it very quickly and print it out again. But this is not what's happening. So we want to know how to do stuff like that. And there's also another mystery. It just removed the whole output. So we want to know how to do that. Another sample is VI. So this is a command line editor. It's even more immersive. So you start the command and then you can edit it. Also takes the whole screen. It has colors and it has really a rich interface. So everybody can see that all right? No? Okay. The next sample I want to show you is even more interactive interface. So it's not like ls that you can pipe stuff in and out. It's more like a dialogue, and depending on the answers you give, you get different feedback, and you can really, like in this sample, you can order pizza. And just one more sample I prepared for you. So people use this technology to do awesome things, and they write whole games with that. And so I could go on and fill the whole talk with samples. I have a huge collection, so I really find the terminal is awesome. And this brings us to the question, what are terminals? So this is a terminal. I usually prefer darker colors, but for today I choose a more light color so everybody can see better. And the stuff is relevant for Linux systems, for Linux terminals. I think some stuff is also relevant for Windows, but I'm not really an expert for that, and I'm not really sure what part is relevant for Windows and which part is not. So to be on the safe side, the stuff I'm talking about today is for Linux and Unix-like system terminals. So these things are precisely called terminal emulators. And question is, what are they emulating? They are emulating these things. This is a video display unit, a VDU. And the VDU itself, I don't know if, many people probably worked with that. So this is, they have a tube and the letters come in green. So, but just so you know what a VDU is. And those things, they are already emulating something else. This stuff. This is a typewriter. So this is a mechanical typewriter. It sends and communicates via electrical signals. And those things have been around for over 100 years now. And we still basically use the same technology, so a lot of legacy stuff. Yeah. So a model for the typewriter, a user is pressing keys on the keyboard, typewriter gets the electrical signals and puts ink on the paper. So back when I was in military, we used the same system and we had something else. This is paper tape. And so you can record your keyboard input to a paper tape and you get snippets for a message, for example, an header, and then the message itself and the footer. And once you're done, you put the whole thing to the paper tape reader and you can get the signals encrypted and transported to the receiving end over here. So Back to the Future, where we use Python, but it's a very similar model we use today. So user is pressing the keys on the keyboard, terminal receives the information and puts the echoes back to the screen. The application has input function to use to receive the user input, and we can use print in Python to output to the terminal. So this next question is what kind of bytes can we send? So we can send ASCII bytes, like single letters, and we also can send control characters, like a new line, like a carriage return, like a tab control character. I want to demonstrate that a little for you. So here on the right side, I have a netcard running on port 1234. And over here on the left side, I open a socket connection. And now I can send, sorry. I can send some byte over to via the socket connection, and it's echoed to the terminal. And I can repeat the same, and it prints it again. So this is ASCII bytes. And the next thing is I want to show is new line. So we can send that, and now we are in the next line. And we can send our bytes again, and it's printed to the next line. Another thing, another control code I can send is /b, and it's backspace. So now I move 2 characters to the left. And what I can do now is I can send a space. Or what I can do, I can send a carriage return. That means bring the carriage back to the beginning of the line. And I'm here. So I can send another character and overwrite on this position. So with that knowledge, we can already, excuse me for that, we can already do a lot of stuff, like for example, build a progress bar, something like that. So basically, Sorry. No. I just use the carriage return and I do a loop 0 to 100, and I just reprint the whole line with different output. And there is about something encoding we want to talk about. It's you can have one character encoded using multiple bytes or multiple Unicode or Unicode. And I don't want to go in too much detail. Next thing I want to show you is the something the terminal cannot use a lot or cannot make sense of. Exactly. So this is very helpful, and this is so nothing changed. But if I send our bytes again, they print in yellow. So that means the terminal has state. So I can change the state of the terminal. And the thing I just used is an ANSI escape sequence. So and there's so this is escape. The first byte, so this is multiple bytes. Everybody can see that. And the first byte is the escape. Then there's a bracket or a square bracket, left bracket, and there's 33M, and this is basically the color code. So this is an ANSI escape sequence. So there's many different sequences, ANSI escape sequences, and we could probably just talk an hour or longer about ANSI escape sequences. There's a lot to know about that, but we can use it for things like to hide the cursor or clear the screen, stuff like that. So next is compatibility concerns. So everybody knows jQuery and what jQuery does. So it helps you if you want to implement front ends against different browsers, different browser implementation. jQuery really takes out the differences you implement against jQuery, and they manage to hide away the complexity of dealing with totally different implementations. And the same thing here with the terminal. So many terminals are using different standards, different implementation. For example, the thing we use here is the VT100. So this is something that a very popular product they released in the end of 60s, end of 70s, sorry. And but there's a ton of different standards and different variations, and there's different subtle differences between these standards and this implementation. So this makes the terminal very difficult, and this is probably also why some people don't really like working on the terminal, because it's really hard to get that right. So a little memory lane. There is term cap and term info. This is basically a database that stores all the different information about the different standards and capabilities. And there's Curses, basically a tool that uses these databases to look up how to, for example, draw something. And there's tput. You can use this a bash command line tool itself that you can use to put things on a terminal. And there's infocmp that gives you information about the mappings on your current setup. So we have capabilities now. We can have colored and styled text, moving cursor, full screen back, hide cursor, and of course much more. So next thing I want to, this is the ASCII chart. This is the control characters, and for the terminal, we have another interface. I already told you about the input and print interface, and there is another interface, get and set. So this gives you immediate access. So if you use the input, you always have to wait for the user to hit the enter key. And with get and set, you get immediate functionality. Just yeah, I have also more information about line discipline. Skip that. There's a lot of man pages. You can really look into if you want to know all the details. There's a lot to know about, and if you're curious and want to know all the details, this is where you go. One thing I want to show to you and demonstrate is STTY echo. So I can, this echo is also a state in the terminal, and I can change the state in the terminal by using STTY. Minus echo, and now I'm typing and you see nothing. And this is because I switch off the echo. And if I enter, then the command I typed is executed, but you don't see what I have typed, but of course you can know what I have typed. Switch the echo back on. And now my terminal is kind of like messed up. There's another command, the reset. So you can use that to reset. For example, if you like have cut it a binary file or something, your terminal gets messed up, you can use the reset. So this is the echo. So we have capabilities. We can turn off echo. We can send keys immediately. We can also read the terminal size that you need in some cases. And there's OS command that you can, for example, use to determine if you're running on a terminal, or, for example, if you're piped, like I've shown you earlier with the ls command, to pipe it into CAD, and you can distinguish between these two situations. So there's other stuff you want to know about. It's you can get the cursor position, and you ask that, get the input to standard in, and you also have to deal with signals, sig int, sig stop, sig range, stuff like that. Next thing, libraries. So there is not really this batteries included thing going on for command line interfaces, unfortunately, and like often Mozilla to the rescue, and Eric Rose, he wrote the Blessings library as a wrapper around curses, and the project slowed down a little, I should say, and they made a fork, and this is called Blast. And there's other libraries, Orbit, Glint, and Click. And there's, of course, the read line in standard Python that you can use. Something I showed you earlier is the pizza thing I showed you. This is something I'm doing. This is the two tools, Watt and Banana. So this is basically wrappers around the Python prompt toolkit. Python prompt toolkit so far is the best, and the best code, the most wide adoption. For example, IPython uses that, Jupyter uses that, some AWS tools use that. We have lots of interactive database clients. I think I'm not really an expert in that area, but I think it has the best Windows support so far, and it can do stuff like I should show you this, of course, like pop-ups. This is a sample. They have lots of samples in Python prompt toolkit, and this is one of them. It's just a Python shell that provides you lookups There's also Python Prompt Toolkit has excellent documentation and already lots of contributors, so it's really actively developed. They're currently working on a release 2.0. Let's switch to this one. So one more thing I want to tell you, it's about the pseudo typewriter, and this is a tool you use for testing stuff or for automating stuff that wants to run in a terminal. So with that, thank you all for coming. I'm here till afternoon. If you want to talk to me, please do. And you can tweet me, email me. I'm happy to answer all of your questions. So.
Thank you very much, Mark.